Okay, welcome. Good to see so many familiar faces here. Any unfamiliar faces here? Anyone here for the first time at a city program lecture? Welcome. Good for you. Come back again. Now you're part of the converted. Great. Good show. Well, a special thanks to our sponsors. Because of TransLink, you are here for free. That's right. A little applause. All right, before we introduce a few people to hear from, let me tell you about what's coming up in the city program. New year. February 18th, real estate development from the inside out. Anybody interested in that? Anyone in Vancouver interested in real estate? We've got Herb Auerbach and Michael Mortensen. I don't want to get into a lot of references here, but if any of you know Herb and Michael, you know that's a great team. It'd be worth coming just for the entertainment value. But also a great lineup of people who really know the industry here. And if it's something that's intriguing to you, someone, for instance, is starting out in the profession, highly recommend it. You can learn an awful lot from people who really know what they're talking about because they're doing it. February 22nd, financing urban growth, use of development cost charges and community amenity contributions. Does that sound boring to you? It's not. It's probably one of the most interesting things that's actually going on in municipal and regional government these days. And we really have two of the best people in the business on this, Jay Wallenberg and Bill Bulldozer. All of this is, of course, referenced on our sfu.ca/city website. Here's a new course. We started it once. We're going to keep running this because we think it's going to build an audience. This is Rick Hulbert, How Photography Can Enhance the Professional Practice of Architecture, Urban Planning, and Design. For those of you who follow me on price tags, I'm going to start to feature some of Rick's photography. But this is not just a photography course. It's really the latter part of that. It's enhancing the architecture, urban planning, and design. And if that's something that you, as a professional, have thought, boy, you know, it would be great as another tool, take this. Rick's going to give you what you need to know to really just move you forward on this and give you a comfort level. It makes a difference even in your understanding of design. Upcoming lectures, don't have anything immediate. We're working on a few. We will always send you out email notices on this. So if any of you really want to be the first to sign up, make sure we have your email address. But as you know, or maybe you don't, we're partners with SFU Public Square on City Conversations. And every 2 weeks, first and third Thursdays of every month, over in Harbour Centre, 12:30 to 1:30, and we really keep it to an hour. We bring in interesting people to engage in conversation. It's not like this, where we provide a lecture. You listen, maybe a few questions. This is engagement. And we always try and find things that are immediately relevant to what's going on in the city. Michael Alexander here is our volunteer coordinator. Michael, what's coming up?
Next Thursday, January 17th, legalizing marijuana in BC. Should we do it? With cash heat.
Why are you laughing?
Why are you laughing? You are joking.
What's the token?
What's the token? Cash Heed, the MLA from Vancouver, and Donald McPherson, the head of Drug Policy Council in BC, and one other looking at a economic study of what would be the economic impact if marijuana were to be legalized in British Columbia. It's in the billions.
What date is that again, Michael?
That's the 17th, 1 week from today, 12:30 to 1:30, SFU Harbour Centre. Thank
Great.
you.
And again, Google SFU City Conversations, keep up with that. It's one of those things you can just show up, no reservations required. Surrey, February, keep your eye out on this one. Ellen Dunham-Jones is back. For those of you who know about retrofitting suburbia, we're partnering here with SCARP students to feature Ellen out in Surrey, which is really appropriate because last time when she was here, she was amazing. Yes. And so we're going to have her featured at SFU Surrey. Worth the trip out for those of you who live down here or anyone lives out there. Definitely SFU That's a few Surrey counties. Do we have any graduates here from our city program, Urban Designers, Sustainable Community Development? Yay! Well, exciting stuff happening. We're getting more excited about it. We're working up our transportation certificate. We're going to be launching it, well, we hope if everything goes according to plan, January of 2014. Just keep your ears open for that one. We want to do something we think is going to be really internationally significant. So another good reason to sign up to the city program email list, just give us that, leave it at the desk. We'll make sure you're on our Rolodex to send out your notices. That's all I got here. That's great. Now, I've already mentioned TransLink. We really appreciate that. They really responded the last moment. We come up with a great idea. Jeff's in town. Hey, can you give us a few bucks to make sure that we can feature him? And Bob Patton says yes. Now, not solely because he thinks the city program is such a terrific place, although I'm sure he does, but because TransLink's got an agenda for this too. Bob, why don't you tell us a little bit more about it?
Thank you very much, Gord, and I'll keep this very short because I know we certainly want to hear from Jeff momentarily. It's been my pleasure to have known Gord now. I hate to tell you this, it's a decade and a half that we've been colleagues in a number of ways at Metro Vancouver, and when he served on the board of TransLink, and more recently in the work that he's been doing at SFU with the city's program. So we are particularly interested to be a sponsor on this. We've sponsored some in the past, and we will be sponsoring more in the future. One of the reasons that we want to do that is our organization is about to launch into a really important dialogue with the people of this region, where we need to have a conversation about where do we want to be, where do we want to take this region, how do we want to live in this region, how do we want to get around in this region. And that conversation is going to pose, it's going to be a challenging conversation. We will certainly get to the point at some point on how to fund it, but the mayors and other key decision makers are working on that right now, and we're trying to support their work, and we hope they're successful in finding some new tools that we can use to continue to make this the most livable region in the world. But one of the things that's of particular interest to us, and while we're known primarily on the transit front, we are much more than just a transit organization. We are certainly an organization that has been one of the first organizations with a mandate to embrace, and there's various titles, managed mobility, integrated mobility, but the concept is we need to find a way to integrate getting around in this region that really minimizes the use of single occupant vehicles. We're trying to find ways that we can live our life, go where we need to go, and not be dependent on a car to do that. And so this evening's talk is of particular interest to us. We've set targets. We have a target that by 2040, more than half of our trips are going to be cycling, or by walking, cycling, or transit. That's an aggressive target as we're only halfway there today. I would say Vancouver is one of the 21 cities in our region is much further ahead than the rest of the region, is doing some amazing and important work in terms of what we're seeing on cycling and other things. But there's aspirations, there's work happening in the other parts of this region. We're trying to get there collectively. So if this will help inform the dialogue, we're delighted to be a sponsor. We hope that when we get out a little later, probably March or April, and begin our dialogue, that we'll have an opportunity to hear more from you. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention, we're pleased to be able to videotape this tonight. We're going to use, talk to Jeff, we're going to use this video as we continue on. And let me steal from Jeff from what I heard this morning. We're delighted that he enjoys coming to the city he calls Planning Nerd Nirvana, and we hope he'll come back for more and continue to help us. So I think, Gord, you're going to do more of a formal invite, but welcome, Jeff, and thank you everyone for being here.